The storm rolled over Charlotte long before the rain reached the ground. Thick, bruised clouds drifted across the Carolina sky, swallowing the last traces of sunlight. From the living room window of his two-story brick house in the quiet suburb of Ballantyne, Ethan Cole stood motionless, a glass of untouched bourbon warming in his hand. He wasn't watching the weather. He was listening. The house felt wrong tonight, off balance, unfamiliar, too quiet even for a Tuesday. A tension, thin as a fishing line but sharp enough to cut, stretched through the rooms like something alive. And although Ethan couldn't explain why, he felt it pressing against the back of his neck. Something was happening. Something he wasn't supposed to know. Upstairs, he heard the faint thud of a bedroom door. Then silence. Then the soft, delicate sound of footsteps, his wife's. Lena. Beautiful, intentional, elegant Lena. His wife of 9 years. For the past month she had been moving differently. Speaking differently. Smiling differently. Everything about her had a new, guarded calm, as if she were always half waiting for something or someone. Ethan turned from the window just as Lena stepped down the stairs. She was wearing the pale blue blazer she usually wore to her marketing job uptown, but her hair, usually neat after work, was freshly brushed, soft waves cascading over her shoulders. A sweet, powdery perfume drifted behind her. It wasn't the one he had given her for their anniversary. "You're home early," she said, her voice gentle but clipped at the edges. Ethan nodded. "Client cancelled. Thought I'd surprise you." Lena's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Well, that's nice," she said, shifting her purse strap nervously. "I was just heading out." "At 7?" Ethan asked. She hesitated only half a second, but it was enough. "Work dinner." "Last minute." "Work dinner." She had said that 3 times in the past 2 weeks. Ethan took a slow sip of his bourbon. "Which restaurant?" "Oh, I think Lucia's. Maybe Harper's. I'm not sure yet." She gave a light laugh. "You know how these corporate things are." He did. He also knew that Lena always knew exactly where she was going. A quiet bolt of cold slid down his spine. Lena lifted her phone from her purse, the screen lighting her face. She turned slightly away from him. A small, private smile flickered across her lips, gone in less than a heartbeat. "What time will you be home?" Ethan asked. She shrugged. "Not late." He watched as she buttoned her blazer, slipped her phone back into her purse, and walked toward the door. But before she could turn the knob, lightning flashed outside, bright and electric, illuminating the doubt on her face, doubt she quickly masked when she realized he was watching. "Be careful," he said softly. "You too." And then she left. The door clicked shut. The house fell silent again. Outside, the first drops of rain tapped against the porch roof. Ethan set his bourbon down and walked to the window. He watched Lena's silver sedan back out of the driveway. Instead of turning left, the direction of every uptown restaurant, she turned right toward the interstate. His breath froze in his chest. He didn't follow. Not yet. Not tonight. Instead he stood there in the darkening room, every instinct in his body screaming what his mind refused to accept. She was lying. Repeatedly. Easily. Comfortably. And with someone waiting for her, someone she trusted enough to turn right instead of left. The storm broke open over Charlotte, rain cascading down the window in frantic streaks. Ethan watched the sedan's taillights disappear into the wet darkness, his jaw tightening, his heartbeat loud enough to drown out the thunder. He wasn't a jealous man. He wasn't paranoid. He wasn't dramatic. But he knew, down to the marrow, that whatever Lena was doing, it wasn't work. And this was only the beginning. The rain eased overnight, leaving Charlotte wrapped in a cool, crisp stillness that felt almost dishonest after such a turbulent evening. Ethan barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the turn signal flashing right, away from uptown, towards somewhere she never mentioned. By morning, he had convinced himself, reassured himself, that maybe he was overreacting. Everyone gets suspicious sometimes. Everyone misreads things. Everyone has bad days. Right? But as he watched Lena in the kitchen the next day, that fragile logic fell apart. She moved with effortless grace, humming softly as she poured coffee into her travel mug. Her hair was tied in a loose ponytail, her makeup natural, her expression serene, far too serene for a woman who had lied the night before. "Morning," she said, giving him a quick kiss on the cheek. "Morning." Ethan studied her face. She didn't seem tired. She didn't seem guilty. She didn't seem anything at all. "How was the dinner?" he asked casually. Lena froze. "Just slightly. Just enough." "Oh, it was fine," she said, too lightly. "Just long. You know how work stuff is." "Yes." He knew. She lifted her mug and turned toward the door, but then her phone vibrated on the counter. A message flashed across the screen before she snatched it up. Ethan saw only one thing. A heart emoji at the end of the preview. His stomach tightened. Lena grabbed the phone so fast it nearly slipped from her fingers. "Just Megan," she said quickly. "She sends those to everyone." Ethan didn't ask which Megan. Lena had at least 3 friends by that name. But he also knew none of them sent her hearts at 7:12 in the morning. "Right," he said quietly. Lena leaned in and kissed him again, longer this time, more deliberate, almost too sweet. Then she left for work, her heels tapping out a rhythm that felt rehearsed. When the garage door closed, Ethan finally exhaled. He wasn't imagining it. Something was unraveling. Halfway through his own workday at the architecture firm, Ethan opened Lena's shared calendar to check an appointment they had next week. They often shared schedules. It was normal, convenient, part of their routine. But today, he noticed something new. Lena had added a team dinner last night, but had backdated it. Added at 10:43 p.m. After she got home. His pulse quickened. He clicked the event. No location. No attendees. Just a vague note, late meeting. Mandatory. He leaned back in his chair. Mandatory? At a marketing firm? At 7 p.m.? His chest tightened in a way that felt almost physical. He knew this sensation. Not anger. Not fear. Recognition. That evening, Ethan met his old friend Marcus at the Old Mecklenburg Brewery. They'd played college baseball together. Marcus knew him better than anyone. "You look like shit," Marcus said as soon as they sat down. "Thanks. Trouble at work?" "At home." Marcus didn't press, at least not for the first few minutes. Ethan nursed his beer, staring at the condensation running down the glass. "She's lying to me," he finally said, his voice low. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "About what? Where she goes? Who she's with? I saw her turn the wrong way last night. And she's been different. Guarded." Marcus leaned forward, elbows on the wooden table. "You think there's someone else?" Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't want to think that." His friend sighed. "Listen, man. I know you love her. But if you feel something's off, it probably is. People don't just change their routines for no reason." Ethan nodded. He knew Marcus was right. But hearing it aloud made the truth sharper, more real. "Just, don't do anything stupid," Marcus added. "Find out the facts before you blow up your marriage." "Facts. Evidence." Ethan forced a tight smile. "Yeah. Facts." 2 days later, Ethan got home early again. Lena's car wasn't in the driveway, though she told him she planned to work from home that afternoon. Inside, the house was silent. He walked upstairs, and stopped cold. On the floor inside their bedroom, half hidden beside the dresser, was a shirt. A man's shirt. Not his. Dark gray, expensive fabric, still smelling faintly of cologne, strong, masculine, unfamiliar. It wasn't a shirt he owned. It wasn't something Lena would mistakenly buy. It wasn't anything that belonged in their home. For a moment the room spun. His hands shook as he picked it up, lifting it like evidence from a crime scene. Jesus Christ. This was real. This was happening. The closet door was slightly open. He pushed it wider. Everything looked normal except for one thing he'd never noticed before. Tucked behind Lena's stacked shoe boxes was a small black bag with a zipper. Ethan stared at it. His heart slammed in his chest. He reached out. But froze. If he opened it, there would be no turning back. No more hoping. No more guessing. No more pretending. He lowered his hand. Not yet. Not before he knew everything. He placed the shirt exactly where he found it and released a shuddering breath. The man's cologne clung to his fingertips. He suddenly felt sick. That night, Lena came home cheerful, humming, smiling, asking about his day, the perfect wife in the perfect suburban house. Ethan watched her, his jaw clenched so tight it hurt. At 10:17 p.m., as she brushed her teeth, her phone lit up on the nightstand. Unknown caller. No name. Just a number. Lena froze mid-swipe of her toothbrush. And she didn't touch the phone. She waited. Waited for him to step away. For him to not see. Your phone's ringing, Ethan said. She spat the toothpaste out and wiped her mouth quickly. Oh, just spam. I get those all the time. She grabbed the phone and clicked it silent. Too fast. Too practiced. Oh, I'm exhausted, she said, sliding under the blankets. You coming? Ethan stood there, watching her settle in as though nothing in the world was off, as though she had never lied, as though there wasn't another man's cologne lingering in the room. Yeah, he said quietly. I'll be right there. But he didn't lie down immediately. He went to the bathroom, closed the door, and stared at his own reflection. He wasn't mistaken. He wasn't insecure. He wasn't imagining things. He was being betrayed. And something inside him hardened. Something cold. Something determined. If Lena was hiding a secret life, Ethan was going to uncover every inch of it. Ethan never thought of himself as the kind of man who could follow someone. But betrayal rewires a person's instincts. It sharpens them. Amplifies them. Twists them into new shapes. For 2 weeks, he lived in a quiet, controlled storm. Lena left the house at strange hours. Worked late. Took more team dinners. Guarded her phone like it was filled with national secrets. And each time, she wore a version of calm that felt too carefully constructed, too smooth, too polished. He watched her. He listened. He waited. And then, finally, he acted. It was a Thursday night when he saw it again, the same pattern, the same rushed, nervous little smile she wore when she thought she'd gotten away with something. I'll be home late, she said casually, slipping on lipstick. Another team meeting. Of course, Ethan answered. No problem. She kissed his cheek. He didn't kiss back. At 7:14 p.m., she pulled out of the driveway. At 7:17, Ethan followed. He kept 3 cars behind, never letting himself get too close. The city lights of Charlotte glowed faintly on the wet pavement as she navigated familiar streets, and then took the same right turn she had taken weeks ago. Away from uptown. Away from her supposed dinner. Away from everything she had told him. Ethan drove with a cold calm pressing against his ribs. She turned onto a quiet residential street. Tree-lined. Well-maintained. Expensive. She slowed. Her blinker flashed. She pulled into a driveway, clean, wide, and framed by trimmed hedges. A man stepped outside. Tall, good-looking, dressed in a fitted sweater and dark jeans. He smiled the kind of smile a man gives a woman he's already undressed 100 times. Lena got out of her car. The man wrapped his arms around her. Ethan's breath stuttered. Not a friendly hug. Not a greeting. Not something workplace-related. A lover's embrace. Slow. Familiar. Hungry. Lena tilted her face up and kissed him, deeply, deliberately, like she'd been waiting all day for it. The world went silent. Ethan felt nothing at first. Not a scream. Not a crack. Not an explosion. Just numbness. A hollow, ringing void. The man said something. Lena laughed, a soft, warm laugh Ethan hadn't heard from her in months. They walked inside together. The door closed. Ethan sat in his car, hands trembling on the steering wheel, lungs shaking with air he couldn't seem to release. The numbness dissolved. The pain hit like a hammer. He didn't sleep that night. He didn't tell her he knew. He didn't shout or accuse or break anything. He waited. Coldly. Strategically. The next morning, when Lena woke up, stretching luxuriously like someone who had slept very, very well, Ethan placed a cup of coffee on her nightstand. "Morning," she murmured. "Morning," he answered. His voice was calm. Too calm. Lena blinked. "Are you okay?" "I've been thinking," he said softly, "that we should go somewhere nice tonight. Just the two of us. We haven't done that in a while." Her face flickered. Surprise. Suspicion. Then a carefully crafted smile. "That's sweet," she said. "But I actually have another late meeting." "No," Ethan said gently. "Tonight, you don't." Her eyes widened just a fraction. "Why do you say it like that?" Ethan just smiled. "We'll talk tonight." He walked out of the room before she could say anything else. Her calm cracked right then. He saw it. At 6 p.m., Ethan sat at the dining room table with 2 glasses of wine. No dinner. No plates. Just silence. Lena came downstairs slowly. Hesitant. Cautious. "Okay," she said. "What's going on?" He pushed a small stack of printed photos across the table. Lena stared at them. Her face drained of color. The photos were crystal clear. Her car. That house. The man embracing her. Them kissing at the doorway. A second night. A third. She looked up at him with wide, shaking eyes. "Ethan, please." "I followed you," he said simply. "And I found the shirt." Her breath hitched. Her knees weakened. "I can explain," she whispered. "Then explain." She sat slowly, her hands trembling. His voice stayed even. Steady. Controlled. "Who is he?" Lena swallowed hard. He works with me." "What's his name?" "Daniel." "How long?" She flinched. "Ethan." "How long?" Her voice cracked. "Almost 5 months." Silence flooded the room like icy water. "Why?" Ethan asked. The question was barely audible, as if he was asking it from far away. Lena covered her face with her hands. "I don't know. I didn't plan it. It just happened. We were on a project together and then one night we had drinks and we talked and I felt something I hadn't felt in so long and I." Ethan slammed his palm on the table. Lena jumped. "Don't say it just happened. You made choices. Over and over. You lied. You snuck around. You kissed him like you've never kissed me. You slept with him. Don't pretend you tripped and fell into his bed. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I'm so sorry. No, Ethan said, shaking his head slowly. You're not sorry. You're scared. There's a difference. Lena sobbed harder. Ethan, please, can we talk about this? We can fix it. We, he repeated, a bitter laugh escaping. There is no we. Not anymore. Ethan stood, walked to the kitchen counter, and picked up a thick envelope. He placed it gently in front of her. What is this? Lena whispered. Divorce papers. Her face collapsed. Ethan, no, please. It's done, he said quietly. I won't stay with someone who treats me like a placeholder. She reached for him. He stepped back. Please. I made a mistake. I love you. No, Ethan said firmly. You don't love me. You loved the life I gave you. You loved being adored. You loved comfort. You loved the version of yourself you got to be with me. He leaned in, voice low and cold. But you didn't love me enough to stay faithful. And you didn't respect me enough to be honest. Lena sobbed uncontrollably now. Ethan. I don't want to lose you. I'll end it, I'll block him, I'll go to therapy. He shook his head. You already lost me. Her sobbing turned to panic. Where will I go? What will I do? How? That's no longer my problem. He placed the house key he had removed from her keyring earlier onto the table. I want you out by Sunday. Lena froze. No, no, you can't. This house is mine. The mortgage is in my name. You have your own savings. Your own income. And your own lover. You'll be fine. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. He spoke softly, almost gently. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. Lena packed her bags through tears, her hands shaking as she zipped suitcases and stuffed clothes into duffel bags. She begged him one last time. Please, can we talk again tomorrow? When we've both calmed down. Ethan didn't look at her. There's nothing left to talk about. She stood at the doorway with her luggage, mascara streaked across her cheeks, heartbreak hanging off her like a weighted coat. I never meant to hurt you. You did anyway. She wiped her eyes violently. I was lonely. You could have told me. You wouldn't have understood. Try me, he said. Try saying something honest now. She stared at him for a long moment, and finally whispered. I wanted someone who made me feel alive. Someone who made me feel wanted. He nodded once. Then go be alive with him. Lena's breath broke. She stepped outside. He closed the door behind her. And just like that, she was gone. Ethan stood in the silent house, listening to the emptiness settle like dust. He expected to cry. He expected to shake. He expected to crumble. Instead, he felt a strange, fierce clarity. Pain, yes. Loss, yes. But also something else. Freedom. A future without lies. A life not built on broken trust. A chance to rebuild, without someone who treated love like a disposable luxury. He walked into the kitchen, opened the window, and let the cold Carolina night air wash over him. Then he whispered into the dark. Better to be alone, than betrayed. And for the first time in months, he felt something close to peace.